Yes, people, welcome to this very special edition of From a Third Eye View on Pi Radio. From a Third Eye View Christmas special hosted by myself, Flawless Mr. Take Note. I'm also joined by one of my fellow co-hosts, Mr. I've seen more in a night than I've seen in your life, aka Stato, aka Big Streezo. Man like Stro. What you telling me? You good?
Good, man. I'm looking forward to this show, boy.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Like, this is going to be a good show. So, obviously, because it's a Christmas special and Pi Radio's shut, but we stay working. This is why we're doing the show on here. Get me, but big up the whole Pi Radio hierarchy. We had to put together a special guest lineup for you know what I'm saying? The 21st of December, the last show before Christmas. So, we had to put together a stellar lineup. So, introducing first one of the guests, one of my favorite non-United troll. Easily, you get what I'm saying? One of the best trolls on Twitter. Easily the best non-United troll, definitely. One of the most hardworking guys in this thing. I would say my favorite Chelsea YouTuber also. Welcome, Carefree Lewis, to the show.
My guys, big up you, man. What are you saying?
Yeah, man, big up. You get what I'm saying, man. Welcome to the show for the first time. This is long overdue. You hear me? Looking forward to having you in there. You hear me? Long overdue. We're going to make this happen more in 2021. But what you saying? You good and everything?
Good, bit anxious. We got the Chelsea-West Ham game in an hour. Jorginho's signed for the first time in weeks, and I need a good performance from him. And if we lose 3 games in a row to West Ham, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to speak it into existence. But that's not happening. We're getting the 3 points. You know the L's been hard over the last week, but the comeback is always strong with Chelsea, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we'll see. And introducing the second guest, Arsenal fans being around in it. If you're an Arsenal fan in this YouTube space, you are definitely controversial, very very knowledgeable though. People do try and slack on his knowledge because he is controversial. Welcome, Agal, to From a Third Eye View on Pi Radio. Agal, what are you telling me?
It's time. I'm joking. Yeah, honestly, it is time for me to just chill, sit back, relax, and like enjoy the view. Because right now, it's not looking good for me.
Is it not looking good? Why? Because Burnley are winning. Is that what it is? You know what I'm saying? Relegation rivals winning.
I swear they're 1 point behind you with a game in hand now.
Bro, hey, you're laughing, but that game in hand is against you. It's against United.
Mad.
I'm just gonna take it. Listen, hey, I can give it.
I didn't even know it was true, but
listen, I'll give it, but I'll take it. No, it's fact. That's fact. They have 13 games played, and they're 1 point behind us. But that game in hand is against you guys. So,
oh Jesus, that is great. I'm going to be telling about that. Oh yeah, that is more than peak. I welcome in the third special guest, a fellow Liverpool fan like Stro, very knowledgeable, also very level-headed for a Liverpool fan, and that's hard for me to say as a Manchester United fan. But his knowledge is on point. Every time I see him talking about United, Liverpool, whatever, he's always on point with his opinions. Welcoming Ryan to the show for the first time. Ryan, what are you telling me?
Yeah, good, man. Cheers for having me.
Okay. Yo. Is it me frozen or is he frozen?
What is it?
I think it's him still.
Is it him? All right. Well, Ryan, when you jump into the show, when it starts freezing, let us know, and I'll jump out and jump back in. Make sure everyone who's watching right now, please make sure you hit the like button on the video. Yeah, no problem. Please make sure you hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the Sarcasm City TV YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. Also, Musavir here says, yes, people, you good? Yes, man, we all blessed here and it stay working during the Christmas period. Chill, sit back and wait for relegation, says Legend Man 1234. And D Barber 7 says Carefree.
My guy, what you said? Here
we go, man. Lewis got fans, you know what I'm saying? So we out here. But all right, we'll start with you, Lewis. Where do you want to start? I presume you want to start with your own team. If you want to go off that, obviously you're playing West Ham.
We don't have to start with Chelsea. I could throw the floor. I could throw the floor to another team, innit? It's not been a good week for us. But if we are going to talk about Chelsea, I was saying we're big title contenders like 2 weeks ago, and I was saying if we win our next 2 games out of Wolves and Everton, we're guaranteed to be first or second with the Spurs and Liverpool game happening. And we didn't even get a single point in that week. So we kind of dropped a few L's on ourselves. No wingers, I understand, but especially the Wolves game management really let us down in that game. We kind of threw it for ourselves. But there's a good chance to turn it around. We got West Ham, we got Arsenal this week. It's 2 London derbies, 2 games that we should be winning. And also the West Ham game, we definitely have to win because that record with us not beating a single team in the top half of the league needs to get killed tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be something that hangs on top of the players' heads, and it's going to be a big factor every single time we play a team in the top half of the league. I didn't even know that stat was real until a few weeks ago, but it's real, it's legit, so we need to cut that one out because West Ham are a point behind us, and I think if we lose, we could... Where are we now? We 8th or 9th place?
I'm not sure.
I think we're 8th place or something like that, which I'm not too worried about. It looks bad. It looks bad from us, but the league table is very tight this season. There's a lot of teams in contention for a lot of places. We're being real about it. But look at Everton for an example. Everyone was saying they were out of the title race a few weeks ago. When the start of the season, everyone was saying they could be title contenders. They've won 3 games on the bounce, and now they're in 3rd place. So all we need is a good run of games, and we'll be back in with the top teams. We just need to start winning games now. We can't go 3 games without a win. We can't go 3 losses in a row to West Ham in the Premier League because that's just straight up embarrassing. And yeah, that's just made me a bit more anxious for tonight. But yeah, we got to get the W.
If you lose tonight, you're tied with Villa with them having 2 games in hand. So
great, thanks for that. Well, to be honest, I deserved that for earlier, so safe. But we ain't losing. We ain't losing. I'm not putting that in my head.
Hey, one thing I will say is stats. So obviously the not beating a team in the top half of the season is a real stat. Do you know what else is a real stat? Arsenal fighting relegation.
that's not a stat. That's an opinion.
All jokes. No.
I love how that's the one thing that unites everybody, just Arsenal slander.
Yeah. It's of course because we all dislike Arsenal. But that being said, Arsenal are legit in a relegation battle currently. Egal, all jokes aside, all banter aside, are you worried about it? Especially with Arteta's comments today.
Listen, Arteta's comments today are baffling. I honestly, I read it the first time. First time when you read it, you're like, what is he talking about? I'm like, you know what it sounded like? It sounded like my guy saying 2 + 2 = 4, this, that, like constantly going crazy. But I don't know what he was talking about. Now, going back to the relegation.
Shaq, I can't be arsed.
What?
Oh my gosh.
What was that, Lewis?
Man said he was Big Shaq because he was talking about the 2 + 2 is 4 thing.
Yeah, like, he was moving like Big Shaq. I'm not gonna lie, but when it comes down to it, I genuinely feel like we have the amount of money in the Premier League these days with us as a top team. We can buy our way out of this, even though we don't usually do stuff like that. When you get to a situation like this and it's this dire, you have to start ripping up contracts in the January window and letting them leave, and you have to just play the kids and certain people that you need to bring in, you need to get them in. But I honestly feel like I'm backing Arteta, but at this point, he's a dead man walking because the fans have turned on him, the media has turned on him, and everything is just going against him. And you can't even see a result coming from the next couple of games. I honestly feel like, guys, we're going to lose every single game for the remainder of 2020. That's 2 games.
Okay, so I got 2 questions on that then. Look at Lewis's face. Look at the grin in it. The happiness on his face. Oh, it's a wonderful thing. Are you Arteta in still?
I feel like Arteta's not the problem. I feel like Arteta has addressed the issues in the club, and it's almost like a Fergie situation where Fergie was not getting the results when he early, and you could see there's something about him as a manager, but he has such a big problem in the dressing room that it overshadows everything going on the pitch. You can't blame him for players getting red cards every single game. You can't blame him for players not being switched on for the second ball when we're scoring the most goals off rebounds. It's just ridiculous in my opinion to say it's all on Arteta.
All right, Stro, I seen you screw your face up there, so I'll let you respond to what Gal just said.
I get the thought process, right? Can't put that man in the same sentence as Fergie. Like the only time them two should ever be on comparison is when Arteta was playing for Everton and he had to submit the team sheet and Fergie was on the same piece of paper as Arteta. Like that's the only time them two should ever be comparable in a sentence together. Only time them two should ever be on the same. Like I get the thought process and I get where you're going with it. It's just to mention Fergie whilst trying to correlate a comparison with Arteta is just wild to me because I'm a Liverpool fan and Fergie's the greatest of all time manager. And I will happily say that with my chest. I've never seen a manager like him. Some of the things that he could do, like, is just ridiculous. His man management is out of this world. And then it's like, you look at Arteta and he's out of his depth. He really is. I know what you're talking about with regards to the dressing room issues and stuff like that, because that is a real issue. There's a big split in the dressing room over the whole Ozil situation and everything that's going on there. And for me, I do feel sorry for him because he's just in the firing line and I think the best managers would struggle with it. but his in-game management is poor. Tactically, it's just awful at times. And yeah, I just had to screw my face up because you can't ever put Arteta and Fergie in the same sentence. Like, it's just wild.
It's a matter.
And one more thing. Everyone says we don't create enough chances to score. We do create enough chances. We're just not clinical at all. We are so unclinical. It's ridiculous. We will have XG of 2 goals, and somehow we'll come out of the game with no goals. It makes no sense. Like, we've outperformed our opponents XG wise over the past 4 or 5 games. We've lost or drawn every single game of those games. The last 6 games we've gotten 1 point. Even the Tottenham game, we outperformed them XG wise. They scored 2 goals, clinical. We didn't score anything. We fluffed our lines every single chance we got. It's been horrendous. If you guys actually take it in, even go back to the City game, we had 2 clear-cut chances. City only had 1, and they scored. So it just goes to show you, we have been doing this the whole season.
That sounds like your goalkeeper then. I don't know.
What?
So Igazo, what you're saying is you believe, even though you believe Arteta is a dead man walking, you don't believe it falls all on him. So if you had the chance to sack him now, you wouldn't. I'm just trying to gauge where you're at. That's all.
I feel like he has, from the back end of last season, he earned enough respect for me to get an opportunity to at least survive until January, to get the signings in. Because everyone can see that he does not have a player who can pick up the space in between the defense and the attack to create anything. And that player, everyone would say Ozil, but we know the political situation. They don't want to sack Arteta, I heard, because if they sack Arteta, the next manager want to bring Ozil into the team. And they physically are trying to push Ozil out of the club. And they don't want to bring another problem into the dressing room with another manager who's going to give faith to some of the players that they want to get rid of.
Okay, I hear that. Yan City, welcoming Yan City. Oh, she just disappeared, actually. Yan, yeah, you back? You here? What's going on? There
Hi,
you go. That lovely.
Yeah, nothing, just listening.
Love it.
I do agree with what Agal says, though, because they do create chances. Because I even tweeted the other day they're worse than City, because City have been creating loads of chances this season, and we've just not been clinical enough. And when I watch Arsenal, they're even worse than City. So I get where he's coming from in terms of that. But I just think, I feel bad for Arteta, because I just think unless he goes on some ridiculous run where they just win every game and he gets back in, in the top 10, I think he might be gone. I don't think Arsenal can keep him if he continues to do what he's doing, because a club like Arsenal can't realistically be in a relegation battle. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I don't think.
Are they in a relegation battle? Do you think they're in a relegation battle?
Right now,
yeah.
I think the league is so close from top to bottom. Like, you win 3 games and you back up in the mix. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Arsenal are a little bit further off, but still, if they win 3 games and the sort of mid-table don't win, then you're looking at them being sort of 10th, 11th, and then all it takes is a good run of wins and you're back up there. So, yeah, I think this league's a bit close this year. It's not really, 2 weeks ago, people were talking about Chelsea winning the league and saying City are out of it. Now we're above Chelsea. So it's like,
we're still in the title race.
I'm just throwing that in
there. Sorry, I had to defend us, but
so is Southampton, right?
Southampton are around. And if anything, they're more around it than you guys are.
Why did you even go there, Egal, man? You should have known.
Facts, I can't lie.
Listen, JV, you know me. If I'm gonna take shots, I'm gonna throw them.
Yo, man,
don't throw them blindly, bro.
Yeah,
don't throw shots and catch one of your own shots, Rubai.
Yeah, facts. Yo, you can't be throwing stones when you're in a relegation house. Sometimes you just have to sit down and
you can't throw stones when you have that badge on your chest. When you got that badge on your chest, you can't throw no stones, Rubai. Just take the L's, bro.
You guys know me. I will come for anybody. Even Liverpool, they win the league. I'm still coming after them.
Just take the L's, bro. It's all right, bro. Every L ain't bad. Every L's not bad. Just take the L's for a hot till our
You guys don't know.
Yeah, we took the L in the FA Cup final. I'm glad we did.
Over the weekend, I didn't have Liverpool fans making fun of me. I had Reading fans making fun of me. That's how bad it got. That's how bad it got.
But yeah,
Reading fans. I know they're shameless as well. They'll throw shots at anybody.
It has to be done in it. You get me? Everyone can get it. Ryan, are you with us? You sorted out your thing, yeah? Yeah. Cool. All right, so we're talking about Arsenal. What's your thoughts on them? And do you think they're legitimately in a relegation battle?
They need Big Sam.
In all seriousness, they won't get relegated if we're being honest, but they're in a battle because they're in 15th and they're only, what is it? How many points are you above the relegation zone?
Well, Burnley are winning now, so I think it might be 2, maybe 1. I don't know. I'm going to check. But go on, continue.
I mean, the fact we're even talking about Arsenal being in a relegation battle in a serious way is pretty worrying for them in itself, to be honest. But
yes, man.
They are in a battle, but in all seriousness, there's definitely, I think, 3 teams worse than them at the moment in the league. So
I hear that.
I can't see them going down. I don't think they'll get top half of the league unless they sack the manager soon, but I doubt they'll get relegated. It'll be funny. It'll be funny to see it, but it won't happen.
It won't be funny.
So yes, it'd be hilarious. I'm telling you now, that would be the most hilarious thing known to man. Like I am doing a relegation celebration party and like on here, like, I'll be partying for weeks on end if Arsenal get relegated. Weeks on end.
Did you hear the heartbreak? Did you hear the heartbreak in Eagle's voice then? He said, sounding like my 5-year-old son, fam.
No, bro. If you know me, I'm very soft-spoken.
I'm looking at it here. So with Burnley currently winning, they'll go up to 16th and they'll be a point behind Arsenal. And then Fulham 18th. They're on 10 points. Arsenal on 14 points. So Arsenal 4 points off. Currently 4 points off the relegation zone. And Burnley have a game in hand, so you was right. So if Burnley win their game in hand, they would go above Arsenal. Well, yeah, salute to everyone who's locked in right now. You hear me? If you're locked in right now, please make sure you hit the like button on the video. Make sure you share it across all the socials and subscribe to the channel. Go on,
as bad as everything is, there is some shining lights in the terrible season we're having that people will never ever mention. There is some shining lights. Like we have somewhat solidified our center back position with Gabriel. He's a decent signing we brought in. And as much as you guys want to make fun of our team, Gabriel is a good piece for the future. Partey was our summer signing. Never even played much games. So it's like, if you look at Tottenham right now and they didn't have Højbjerg, how good would they be? That's what's happening to us. We've had our summer signing, and only one of them has been playing. Partey hasn't been playing, and if Partey was in this team, I guarantee you wouldn't be losing to Burnley. We would have a better game against Wolves. He really got injured against Spurs after he came back from the injury. We rushed him back. He couldn't even last the 45 minutes, and that we're suffering the consequences right now.
All right, I hear that. So moving on, Winter Surface says, how have you solidified your defense when you're 15th? I'll let you answer that.
Yo, that was the maddest thing you could have just said, bro. How can you have made your defense better in a relegation fight?
The problem is not the goals conceded. If you actually look at the goals conceded, we don't concede that many goals. It's the goals that we don't score. We're not scoring. We're actually, everything's opposite of how it used to be.
At the moment, your problem is goals conceded because you don't score in it. So I can't accept that you sell it. If you make something solid, let's take the dictionary right now, because for me to solidify something, that means it's hard to break down. Yous are hardly hard to break down, bro. Yous are hardly hard to break down. If yous are like Arsenal right now are slugs and the rest of the league are salt, bro. That is what's happening.
You know the worst part easily. You know what the worst part is? You lot play a defensive style of play too.
Yes.
You got to sit everyone behind the ball and you still can't keep clean sheets. That is bad.
Yeah. You man play about 9 defenders, bro. You got
a backman
on the pitch, yeah. Let's think of your best 11 in our heads now, yeah. Aubameyang is there for attacking, yeah. Who else is actually attacking, bro? And let's keep it all the way real. Maybe Saka, but then you still got him at left.
The thing is,
William.
I don't feel like anybody knows our best 11. Let's be honest. We don't have a best 11.
Our best player.
What?
I heard William was our best player.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Can I give you a public apology right now? I want to apologize to the whole on behalf of the whole Arsenal fan base, we were all wrong about Willian, and you've been telling us. And you know what? I've seen it with my own eyes. The man will be in the box. All he has to do is cross the ball across the face of goal, and it's a tap in. But the man will somehow find a way to get it back to the halfway line.
That is prime 2013 Willian, 2014 Willian, 2015 Willian, 16, 17, 18, 19. We've seen this abomination for 7 years. He's the biggest scam artist of this generation. I've said it for ages. He's like Morata, always falls upwards, and I don't know how.
JV, my point was not the fact that we solidified the defense. We thought we solidified it by getting these signings in, but missing one of our biggest signings, and also what we did to get rid of him. Well, I mean, what we did to get Partey was basically got rid of Gabriel Martinez. We got rid of Martinez, and we got rid of Torreira, and we got rid of Guendouzi just to bring in Partey. And Partey is injured. We would have been better off right now to keep all three of them and not have Partey. If that means he stays healthy.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't think you'd be much better off. I really don't. You know, because your problem, as you said, is scoring goals. So I don't think you'd be much better off. I think you'd probably be drawing. If you get where I'm coming from, I think you'd probably be drawing a bit more. I don't see Partey as someone who's gonna drive forward through the midfield and, you know, Aubameyang have a shot and Partey get the tap in or something. He's not that type of. He's not going to change a game in that type of way for you. He's more about prevention than you know, trying to do something in the game. But this is what it would take I think you're going all wrong. Whereas I think you're all going wrong. Yeah. Your whole fan base. I think you're looking at where we've been and where other clubs have been in terms of, you know, backing the manager in that. I don't think there's a case for backing Arteta at the moment. That's where you need to realize what he's doing to use at the moment is inexcusable because he's going defensive and still losing, like Lewis said. That doesn't make sense. So for me, at this moment in time, there's more wrong with Arteta than there is with any other manager in the league at this moment. Don't get me wrong, there's managers who are like Sheffield United who are in very bad positions, but their thing for me is they're probably just not good enough. Yeah, all the other teams that you're surrounded by, they're probably not just good enough. Whereas you've got serious problems. I don't think there's some sort of mad unrest at Sheffield United that's got them bottom. I just think this is second season syndrome, and man know how you're going to settle. Do you get what I'm saying?
We are the most scared of every single opponent I've ever seen us. We are more scared of Burnley than Burnley were scared of us that game. That's how bad it is, bro. Our team is literally going out there with no confidence. And every single game, we have this thing in our minds where, we feel like we're going to just lose to every team. That's how bad it's gone. I can't see us winning a game. And if it means Arteta has to get sacked, he might need to get sacked. But in my opinion, I will never say that because I feel like
neither will I, man.
I can see that there's other issues. And those issues could be solved in the long run. And instead of putting a bandage on the situation by getting a new manager in, that manager gets us results, everything is okay. And then they try to say, we don't need to sign players because the new manager Brown saved us.
I hear what you're saying. So, all right, switching lanes, because we've mentioned this already a few times in terms of the league being close. And all it takes is for 2 or 3 games for you to win and you shoot up the table, or 2 or 3 games and you drop down the table. So, we're in this as well as legitimate title contenders. Who do you look at? What teams do you think are legitimate title contenders in the league right now?
For myself,
is that going to?
Is that Ryan I'm talking to? Ryan was.
Oh yeah, Ryan. Go on.
Yeah. All right, you take it, Davey. Go on.
Nah,
Ryan.
you know what it is?
Start with you.
You froze when you was gonna say who it is. So go on, Ryan. Go
on. Right. Okay.
I think we're obviously in it. I think at the moment, I hate to say it, but I have to put United in there as well because, you know, they're on a good run. They're winning games. They got a lot of individual brilliance in their team with the likes of Bruno, Pogba, Rashford, Martial. So I think they're in it at the moment. The only thing that might let them down is the manager, but you can't rule them out with, I think, if they win the game in hand, they'd be 2 points behind us. So, and I think City, I still think City, it's too early to rule them out still. I don't think City will win it, but I still think they'll challenge for it this season. I can still see them going on a run as well because they've still got a lot of talent in their squad. Pep's done it before. I think Tottenham and Chelsea, I don't think they've got enough to win the league this season. If I had to say one, no, I don't think any of them have, to be honest. I think, to me, at the moment, it's only Liverpool, City, and United.
Okay, so you legitimately concerned about Manchester United? Like, I'm a United fan, and I don't think we're a threat. Do you legitimately see us as a legitimate threat to the title?
Yeah, I do at the moment, because things might change in the next couple of months. But I do at the moment because you just keep winning games, and even if you go 1-0 down, you're coming back. And
oh yeah, we doggy style FC. Yeah. We always coming from behind. Someone said I died.
And because of how open the league is this season, how close it is, I can't rule them out. That's the thing. I want to, but I can't rule them out at the moment. I wouldn't put my money on them to win it. I still personally put my money on us to win it. I still think we're the best team in the league. And us getting Thiago and Jota back in the next couple of months will only strengthen us. But I can't rule United or City out yet, to be honest.
I hear that. Same to you. Question to you, Lewis.
Wait.
Same question.
We're only a point behind City, you know.
Yeah, but I think
we can put United in it, but not us.
Nah, you know what? I knew Lewis was going to chop you and say something, because your face when you said Chelsea and Tottenham, you looked.
I was waiting to hear Chelsea, and you put us on the same par with Spurs. I'm actually offended.
You know what it is with Chelsea, right? I just think Lampard is, he's been back, but I just feel he's making a few mistakes as well. And I think it's still taking time for your new signings like Werner and Havertz to settle in. And I just think because it's basically his first year being backed, I don't think he's ready to win it this season. But I think next season you'll have a real chance, to be honest. But I just think he's just too inexperienced to win it this season. I think Pep. The reason why I put City in there is because Pep's had recent experience of winning it, and he won it back to back. So, and they've got title winners in their team as well, So that's why I put City in there ahead of you.
All right, cool. I don't agree, but I respect the logic. That makes sense. Cool. I hope we prove you wrong, though, but cool.
Yeah. So, what do you think then? Who are you thinking then, Lewis?
Realistically, teams that could be in contention for the title, like obviously there's Liverpool. I am putting us up there, even though I think realistically we'll probably get top 3 at best. But I do still think we're going to be in and around the title challenge. I just think eventually we'll end up petering out. And I'll be okay with that as long as we don't end up in a top 4 race. Because if we end up in a top 4 race, what has really changed with spending 220 million? So us, Liverpool, I have to say United as well, because you guys are above us now by about 4 points. So I'll take that too. Spurs, as much as I hate to say it, they are in this title race. Second season Jose is real. As much as they're going to hate the football, for the most part, it's going to get them results. And because they haven't won anything in the last 12 years, they might as well just take whatever they have and be happy with it, even if it is just a Carabao Cup. Because if Jose can't win them a trophy, nobody's winning them a trophy. Man's a serial winner, and that's facts. Everton and Leicester, I potentially see Leicester making more of a fight than Everton, because I don't think Ancelotti has that much confidence in his squad's depth. So Everton would be more top 7 for me. I think Leicester could have a serious fight for top 4, and especially after bottling it last season, they'll definitely be up for trying to right that wrong. But there is a lot of clubs that could be in and around this title. Even, I don't want to say it too loudly, but Southampton, maybe. I mean, the results have looked pretty good this first half of the season. And this whole season is a madness. So realistically, we could say there is one of Leicester or Everton or Southampton involved in this title race. As weird as that is to say, they could be around there. There's a lot of clubs that have a potential to be. Right now, I think only Liverpool looks like the genuine ones. And even with how messed up this season it potentially looks like it's going to be Liverpool that takes the title, because even with all the injuries that they've had, they're still churning out results. So I think Liverpool could end up being the ones that walk away with the title, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as easy as it was for them last season. It could go down to the last day or the last couple match days before, but There are a couple teams involved in this. Chelsea as well, including about another 6 or 7 others, but it is still also very early to say.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw this next one here to Jan because Jan's been quiet a bit, and
actually,
I want to hear.
I got to head off. By the way, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
Cool.
Anytime, yeah.
Have a good Christmas.
See you, man.
Bless my guy. All right, so I'm gonna go to you, Jan, because personally, I know that Jan is gonna have something good to say regarding City, and I consider you as the closest challengers. So let me know what you think.
Yeah, I think it's always too early to rule City out. And a lot of people do it every season. If we don't win our first 10 games, it's our Man City are not going to win the league. We've proven before that we can go and do it. The squad, like Ryan said, there's a lot of title winning players in that squad that have been there, done that. Pep, been there, done that. That's why I think personally Liverpool are the strongest at the moment, simply because one, they're grinding out results, and secondly, because of Klopp. He's been there, done that. So the only thing, obviously, in terms of title race, it's very close. So I wouldn't say there's like 2 or 3 teams. I think there's a lot more in the current title race. I think that will change maybe after Christmas when European football comes back and everyone's got a lot of games, especially people playing Thursday and Sunday. You know, it can be difficult to manage your team. So I think it will change. But for now, there's a lot of teams in it. Man United are doing well. You've got individual brilliance. I agree with Ryan again. I just think it might be down to a manager thing at the end. And that's why Chelsea and United, as good as they've been, if it comes down to Klopp or Ole, Klopp will probably come out on top. And if it comes down to Lampard and Pep, I think Pep will come out on top. So I think the manager will play a part. I know a lot of United fans are saying if you've got a decent manager in, you've got a good chance. But yeah, I just think it's so close now. United lose 2 games and everyone below you wins. You're going up and down, up and down. It's not clear. I think Liverpool, I would say, look the strongest simply because without their strongest squad, they're still getting results. Whereas City don't really look up for it. I think that West Brom game, it shocked me because I thought City would think, right, this title's there for the taking. Do you know what I mean? They didn't really show what I would expect from a team that want to win the league. So we'll see what happens. We sorted our defence. We were very bad. We were very poor last season defensively. We seem to have sorted that out. I think now Spurs have conceded 2 goals. I think we're the best defence in the league statistically. I think the attacking form will click at one point. We can't have all these players like De Bruyne, Sterling going a whole season without shooting. Like it's going to happen. So I think City will be in a title race. Right now, we're a little bit inconsistent, but I think if we get some consistency, we're up there with Liverpool, you know, Man United, whoever else is up there at the time. So yeah, that's my opinion.
You know why I came to you, Jan? Because I make my point on this now, but it heavily involves Manchester City. And there's a certain small Argentinian brother, who, for me, if he comes back after this new year with any sort of fitness or form, it's yours. Because, and obviously I'm talking about Aguero. I still think Aguero, you give me 80% Aguero, 80% fitness Aguero is still arguably one of the best strikers in the league, if not the best. And I'll stand by that. Everyone's like tooting Harry Kane's horn this season or this person or that person, but it's kind of because the master's not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, as pains me to say, as a United fan, he is the number 1 centre forward. So I honestly believe with how he's sorry.
Yeah.
Having dinner too quick. But yeah, I think who you have behind someone like Aguero, if he was playing, there's too much for him to not capitalize from. He's just still making them, you know, like you make like 10, 15 chances every half you play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I was quite surprised today where I heard Pep say, you know, I'm not gonna try and look for any, you know, reinforcements up front. But then I looked at it on the other hand and I thought, well, maybe he knows. Maybe Aguero could have possibly played a few games, but maybe he's saying, you know what, let me get Aguero fully fit for this new year. And little things like that are the difference between someone like an Arteta and a Pep. And this isn't me having a dig at you either, Igal.
No.
You see, like before when you said he rushed back Partey too quick. That's the type of thing. Like there's probably times this season where Pep could have probably rushed up Aguero's, you know, recovery or whatever he's doing, and probably thought, you know what, let me leave him. And it's a good point. I can't remember who made it. Someone just made it. Actually, I think it was Jan, where it's going to come down to the managers, and that's why I think City cannot be, you know, miscounted or counted out, because we all know that he's a tactical genius. We all know what Pep's about. Don't get me wrong; it's unravelled a bit in the Prem. I'll be the first one to sit here and say that he doesn't look as untouchable as he did before he came here. Yeah, but on his day, or not even on his day, scenarios such as how many games left in the season, and scenarios such as, I am a point ahead, or I'm a point behind this team with a game in hand, and you know, all these type of things with games to go. These are scenarios he's been in 20 times. Do you get what I mean? So for me, if anyone actually has, in a season like this, if anyone has an advantage, it's Manchester City, because they've got a manager who's been here. They've got the only manager, apart from a Jose, who's with any of these teams, who has been in a title race.
Ancelotti.
Times. No, I'm saying I'm not count. For me, I'm not. I can't see Everton winning this league. I don't think they can win this league, Everton. No. You might think that because of Saturday, but I'm only joking. No, but I personally, don't get me wrong. Now you're right. You're right in what you're saying, Igor. Ancelotti is, you know, he's
one
been
of the best managers. Yeah,
he is. That's not even a debate. He is one of the best managers. If Everton, don't get me wrong, if Everton were
Chelsea,
in like say Chelsea's position or like United's position, I'd say he's right in it. I'd say he's literally, everyone beware, because he will have things up his sleeve. Don't get me wrong. Like by the time we get to say, I don't know, the 30th, the 31st, Everton could be right up there. And if they are, then take what I'm saying as if they are in that position. Do you get what I mean? So
they're fourth right now. That's why I said it.
They're in fourth right now. Oh yeah, they're in it.
Wait, I thought Everton was second.
Everton are fourth right now.
Man United won, I think.
Man United third. Leicester second.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, it's moving too fast, bro. Yeah, Everton are in it then. Let's not get it twisted. Everton are in it.
Because if Tottenham are in it, if Chelsea's in it, Everton are in it.
One second. I don't think Tottenham are in it, bro. I don't think Tottenham are in it.
I was going to get there.
Positional, yes. In a positional sense, if the league finished tomorrow, or if they had 2 matches left tomorrow, then yes. But they have a certain sour mouth Portuguese man whose self-destruct button has been slowly pressed. Past 2 games, I seen him with the sour grapes to Klopp and best man wins. Yeah. And then I seen him yesterday. What was he saying yesterday? I'm not happy with some performances. It started, bro. It started. The venom has left the tongue. Yeah. Once that snake bites you, bro, there's slow venom and there's fast venom in it. Jose most certainly has the slowest of slow venom. Yeah. It's just gonna way throughout. Before you know it, they'll be calling someone fat. Who's fat? Is it, you know what I mean? It's calling out Luke Shaw before. He's gonna call someone
probably Ndombele.
Ndombele. Did you not see what he did? See, I seen something on Dele Alli's post. I don't know if it was real, where he said, who fancies a game? And he was talking about another sport or something. And then I seen a thing and it was Jose Mourinho. He said, probably you. You know what I'm saying? And even if that is in jest, yeah, even if it's real or not, it's probably not real because of the times you live in. That is the type of thing Jose would do. This man right here. You have to really understand it. Look at Chelsea right now. Look at United right now. These clubs are still healing from my man. Like, all jokes aside, man are still healing from this guy, bro. Like, that would talk toxic relationships. Jose Mourinho, a football club, right? There's nothing more toxic, bro. Go ahead, nothing.
I don't want to hear about when you guys talk about Tottenham. I don't want to hear about the Jose slander as much as I want to hear about the history of Tottenham. Let's be honest, guys. They're not known for ever winning anything. They're not known for ever doing anything. So to me, when it comes to the pedigree of a club has something to do with how the players go into a game. If they know it's tight, if they've never done it before, what makes you think they're going to do it now? That's just my whole thing.
So what I want to ask is because I've not heard anyone say this bar Spurs fan. Does anyone see them as a legitimate threat and title contenders?
No.
Nobody sees them as that. That's strange. I'm in agreement in it. I've only heard Spurs fans talk about Spurs fans as legit. Spurs could be top of the league right now by 4 points, and I think still people wouldn't be concerned or threatened by them because they still have that Spurs thing about them. And that's hard. That stain is hard to get off. It's very difficult.
You know what I think it is as well?
Getting that off, bro. No amount of vanish, no amount of stain removed.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's two things. I think, first of all, they've not done anything so far to convince people that they can do it. I think the worst thing for me was that Leicester season where it was a 2-horse race. I didn't want Spurs to win it. And I thought they genuinely were going to win it. And then they ended up finishing third. So for me, because of that obviously puts doubts in my head. Obviously, Jose is a winner. Everyone can agree with that. So if anyone's going to win it would probably be Jose. But I just think, I don't know. There's nothing right now that's telling me. I think positionally, yes, they're in it. And I think when they were top, people were saying, they are in the title race. You can't rule them out. They were doing really well. But I just think this league is so up and down. Like, Everton lost 3 games in a row and are still on the same points as Man United in 4th. Do you know what I mean? Like, that sort of thing. Normally in a season, you lose 3 games in a row, you're out of that title race. Or you're, like, really struggling to get in the top 4. Whereas this season, you can afford to lose. Like, second place Leicester have lost 5 games. Like, what season can you lose 5 games out of 14 and you're second? Like, this season for me is crazy. And for that reason, I don't know what's going to happen. I think Liverpool have the best chance. I think City have a good chance as well. Obviously, Man United are in it at the moment. But I just think it's early days. And this league is not going to be predictable anytime soon. That's what I think.
2015-16 vibes, because if you guys remember, 2016-15 was the last time where all the top 6 teams dropped points in the same week, and it happened a couple of weeks ago, where every single one of us dropped points to a point where we either all lost or drew. That has never happened since 2016 season. So to me, this season, don't be surprised if there's shocks. But as much as we're gassing everybody up, I feel like City's in a top 4 race. I feel like everyone else is in a top 4 race, and it's just Liverpool at the top. And Stro, for me to say this is rich, but it's Liverpool and the rest. Everybody else is in their own race for top 4. It's Liverpool against themselves, and everybody else trying to catch up.
No, I get what you're saying. Liverpool they're my pick. I've said this. I think if there is a time to win the league, JV spoke on this many a time before the season started and said we could get a Leicester-esque season, but it seems nobody is capable, whether that's players or manager or both, of taking advantage of this type of season. If there's ever a time to win a league when you are not at your best, it is now. When you look at the top 2 of Liverpool and City, who were clear of everybody, City are not what they were. Liverpool are the injuries. It's on a United, at Chelsea. Spurs you can kind of throw in there to then go on and kick on and win the league, but it seems nobody has the quality to do so. So that's what makes the league very interesting. Go on.
But here's the point. So here's the thing, right? If you were to every team in the Premier League give them the exact same odds, 100 to 1, right? And you've got your last tenner and you had to put a tenner on someone you knew was going to win the league because you needed the money for Christmas or whatever. For me, the pick's Liverpool all day. And I'll tell you why. And what people are failing to forget is you don't realise how big of a moment Firmino's winner was against Tottenham midweek. That spurs you on onto a different level. This is, for example, when we beat Hughes at home, that Salah moment where he scores the winner and everyone starts to believe. Because until then, Liverpool fell into the pack of, oh, well, you got your injuries, you're just like everyone else. That moment then kicks us into a stratosphere mentally with regards to the players. And you look at the performances since we've lost Van Dijk. We've had 7 clean sheets in 13. Like, defensively, we've been better. Fabinho's playing at centre-back. He's not centre-back, and he's arguably one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League at the minute with his performances. That performance away at Crystal Palace is a joke. We've never done that in the league. Salah wasn't even starting, for crying out loud. Like, these are statements, and for me, it's like Liverpool are now starting to click into a bit of form. And I've heard everyone say it takes 2 or 3 games or a team to go on a 3 or 4 game run to separate the pack. And for me, I think United are definitely in the race. I'd put United in the race above City at the moment. I think City will get back into the race, but Liverpool approved last season, once you give us a gap and you give us a head start, we don't look like we're going to be catched in. We've started rocky with our injuries and stuff like that, but we've got through it. The fact that we've got Jota coming back, the fact that I've seen a video of Van Dijk kicking a football and doing mad stuff in the gym, it's like this man's going to be back at some point this season. It's crazy for me. And here's the mad thing is, if we carry on the way that we've carried on for the past 2 weeks, I don't see a team getting near us.
Nah, you know what? You're right. I don't think anyone else. The whole thing what you just said then about if you had to put money on anyone, it's obviously used, bro. Like, let's not get it twisted. It is used. Like, that's why I think the argument is if anyone else. See, when we're all speaking now, I think what we really need to be saying, who else can challenge? Like, I'm not sat here now thinking that United are gonna just take control of this league and be winning by a certain amount of points. I don't see anyone else doing it. If any other team apart from Liverpool wins the league this season, yous mess it up. I honestly believe that. Or it could be literally like an Aguero moment. You know, like something. You know what I mean? That's all I can see it coming down to. But then, even for it to get that close, yous would have had to mess it somewhere down the line. Do you get what I mean? So, Ryan and Stroll can sit here feeling pretty comfortable at the moment because even though you aren't doing the best, you're still winning. And I think this is if you look back in history and you look at any league, any title-winning team that's really impressed, that is one of the main attributes that they have. It's clearly what you have above everyone else. I don't think it's quality. I think it's quality what you have above everyone else. I really don't, because I don't think the gap in quality is that big. But the mentality, mindset is miles. The gap in mindset and mentality is miles. There's like, honestly, you could have just crumbled just when that moment when Van Dijk's on the floor. Or however his injury came along. But I'm saying that moment your team knew he was out, that could have been the end of your season there. And it never even began to become that. Do you get what I mean? It's never ever looked like that's gonna do you something. My whole worry is, well, not worry, but my whole thing is when I seen Van Dijk coming back, I was like, take time. That's me saying this as a football fan. I put all the rivalries aside. Take time. Do not come back quicker than you have to. You don't have to prove to no one, bro. You don't have to be no Superman. You don't have to. You know what I mean? Like I think you must have put it up, bro, in one of the groups we got, and I seen him kicking the ball and doing this, and I'm bro, take time, bro. Like, as much as that looks good for the publicity and the fans and everyone, nah, bro, because you know how it works. He'll do all of that. He'll come back his first game and he'll have 10 minutes. Boom, something will go in it. I don't, you know what it is? We've seen the Michael Owens of this world. We've seen many a player that have had injuries and then came back too quick and then boom, it's a similar injury again, or or because they're putting too much strain on this one. This one's gone, and do you get what I'm saying? So for me, the whole Van Dijk thing is, honestly, at this moment in time, it would be an excellent boost. But I don't think you need him. Leave him. Like,
I agree. But,
do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to see him come back, mash up, and well, I do actually want to see that as a United fan. But as the human, you know what I mean? The human in me, don't want to see him come back, mash up, and that's another career. It's true though, because that could be another one of those careers down the drain where you're like, what if? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what if you get that mad in?
Do you know what? Sorry, Stra. I was just gonna say it's interesting because I think Sane had the same injury, and he was the same. Like, he had videos playing football. We thought, he's gonna come back. He didn't make it back. Obviously, Pep's not gonna rush him back. I can't see Klopp rushing Van Dijk back. But it's just that sort of injury is dangerous. Like, you have to wait till they're fully fit. And I think if he comes back a bit early, I think Benjamin Mendy tried to come back a little bit early and it backfired. He can't keep fit now. So he's like in, out. Whereas Sane left it the right amount of time and he's all right now for Bayern. So I think you just got to, even if he says he's fit and he wants to play, if you don't need him, don't use him. But saying that, he could do a company and maybe if the title race is close, he could come back and just secure you the title. You know, Company's done that a few times. Come back in, 5 games to go, won us the league. So Van Dijk could maybe do that. I
think he could even do that at a dressing room level. He could. Yeah. It seems like to be that type of character. He could probably do that at a dressing room level. Like, it wouldn't even have to get to like stepping on the pitch. Don't get me wrong. There'll be a match where they might really need him, and it might be a case of the club looks at the coaches and they all look around and they make a decision and say, right, you know what, we'll throw him in. But we'll throw him in, but you lot up front, try and get this match wrapped up so we can get him back off. Do you get what I mean? There'll be certain times and scenarios and things like that. But what I don't want is to, as I said, this is the human in me and not the United fan. I don't see him coming back to big fanfare and everyone, hands in the air, everyone going crazy. And he, you know what I mean? He's looking good in the match. And you know what it is with these type of injuries as well? You know what it'll be? He'll have a foot race with someone. He'll do him in a foot race. That won't be it. What will get him injured? He'll pass the ball to someone, and then you just see him, you know, when they just drop on the floor and you're like, oh. That's what it will be when they get these type of injuries. It's not crunching tackles and all of that. What make it come back? Sometimes it's just you were too quick to bring them back, and muscles aren't ready, and this ain't ready. This tendon's still in rest mode. This tendon needs to be in active mode right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's all body works and everything. It's all delicate. Saying that as well. You've got the best. I was going to say, you've got the best thingy. What you're always telling me about the best sports scientists and all that. So
yeah. But it's not even that. It's when I seen it, I wasn't surprised he's that far ahead of schedule because I don't know if like Jan, you can attest to this. When you've seen Liverpool play City and you look at him on the pitch live, he's a physical specimen. Like I'm not even exaggerating. I went to the Watford game where he scored 2 and Trent set a hat-trick of assists up, and I was just watching him. His head is enormous. Like, it's just, I'm not even just saying this, I've not seen a player that stature for a while. So when I seen it, I wasn't surprised because I thought if there's anyone that's going to come back well ahead of schedule and be fine, it would be him. Yeah. Because it's just, I just can't explain what this man's done to Liverpool and just everything. And like Vil said, the sports scientist, I don't think we'll rush him back, but you look at him, he's so far ahead of schedule at this point. It's just like, it's crazy. And here's the funny thing about Liverpool. We lost Van Dijk. Then we lose Gomez. Right? So there's our 2 starting centre-backs. Then Trent goes. And then it's like, we've got no one. Alisson's gone. And then our best player this season, Jota, gets injured. Thiago's only played 1 game. And it's just like, at this point, I understood why teams were starting to write us off. But the one thing about Liverpool, and I said this to Vils, I said this on every normal show, you can never, ever, ever write Liverpool off because they'll come out with madness. So beginning of the season, drove in the window, you two can attest to this in the top corner. I was mad we didn't get Werner. I was fuming we didn't get Werner. Mm-hmm. Then Jota comes out of nowhere and it's like, oh, wait a minute. The one thing I was most angry about was the fact that we didn't replace Lovren as a centre-back. And I didn't want to go down to Fernandinho. Look at Fabinho. He's been one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League this season. Like, so when I say that and I said this on the show as well, and you can go back and find it. I said, although I'm not happy with it, I have to trust Liverpool because they proved me wrong time after time. And I'm sat here now in December, top of the league after over 20 injuries, or an entire starting 11 gone at one point. Firmino's actually starting to score goals now, which I know a gal's absolutely loving at the moment. It's crazy to me. Like, what a weird season. But like I said, if there's going to be a team that's going to go on a 4 or 5 game run, it will be us. And that's the worry for the rest of the league.
There's one word every single person missed out, I feel like: versatility. And also, JV, when you're saying take your time, all I was hearing was take your time with it. But so let's tell him to take your time, because mentally you could actually hurt yourself by thinking too much about it if you rush back. Where if you know you're 100%, you won't mentally think about, oh, if I trip on this guy's foot, I might get another injury, or if I do this, or I can't. He's one of the most dangerous guys in the air, in the box, on both ends of the pitch. So if he's in the box and he's worried about other things around him, he won't be able to play as himself. So I feel like mentally you have to be ready as much as you need to be ready on the pitch. And when it comes to Liverpool, the one thing that I underestimated was the amount of versatility you have in your team. You have players that can play left back, center mid, DM, all of these positions. And that's just James Milner. Now you get into Fabinho. He can do right back. He can play center back. He can play all those positions in center mid. It's just ridiculous. And then you get into Roberto Firmino, dropping as deep as almost as a creative midfielder now. It's gotten to a point where your versatility has been the most impressive part of your team. I get it. It's Klopp's management has led to this versatility and this showing us how good all these players are. But as much as I'm giving Klopp credit, I have to give your whole team credit in the situation and how they've been able to adjust and cope with every single injury. I have to give them a round of applause at some point because they keep proving me wrong every single time.
You're right, bro.
On JV.
No, I'm done.
No, I'm saying you're right. You're right, because one thing I always said about Liverpool's team last year, one thing I always questioned was the squad depth. But I did also say that everyone in there is quite... It's versatile, but it's almost not versatile, because what Liverpool seem to do is, if you really look at Trent, how much time does Trent play as a right back? How much time does Robertson play as a auxiliary left back? How much time does Salah spend on the right wing? You know what I'm saying? How much time does Mane spend on the... They don't. These are basically positions where these are starting positions. Do you get what I mean? These are starting positions, and they have a formula, a system, a formation that enables everyone to have a job. And it's almost as if Trent's not a right back. Trent is a right back and a right midfielder. So Trent has an area. Do you get what I'm saying? Robertson has an area. Mane has an area which he has to affect. Salah has an area which he has to affect. The three midfielders have their normal area across the middle to affect, but also when the wing backs go forward, they then have to affect the spaces in between. Do you get what I'm saying? And the same goes for Firmino. He knows that he drops back in. The wingers then come more narrow towards like the edge of the box, and then that's where the width of the 18-yard box, and then that's where they do their most damage, because then you've got the wing backs who are then down the wings. Do you get what I mean? So as much as we're saying it's versatility, Igal, which is right, a lot of it is things that have been worked on, because I could give you a striker who's used to dropping back into number 10, but if he went to Liverpool tomorrow, it might not work because he's not used to the system. Do you get what I'm saying? So as much as it's being used to the system, why I think the Jota one worked so much straight away, because what they identified is that there's a player here who actually operates in a certain way which already benefits our system. That's why the Jota transfers work so well. Jota's not had to be bedded in. Jota and Mane, for me, are two of the same player, if that makes sense. They're two of the same player, and it's not even in a bad way that I'm saying the two of the same player, but they also know how to do different roles. So what I'm saying to you is Mane could start the match at centre forward and Jota could start the match at left wing. and they could switch over in that match, and you probably, if you were sitting up at United watching them in a derby and you're high in the gods where you can't even tell what colour man are, you wouldn't know. Do you get what I'm saying? If you're sat that high in the stand where you got them certain grounds.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm saying certain grounds, you go, you're like, who's this black brother up front? You know what I'm saying? You can't even see the number in that. You know what I mean? You probably won't be able to tell the difference between the two simply because they'll be making the same runs. They'll be working the same off the ball. Do you get what I mean? That's why I honestly believe the Jota things work so well. That's why maybe someone like Shaqiri hasn't worked so well for Liverpool, because when Shaqiri comes on, even if Shaqiri's playing, I don't know, if Shaqiri's playing in the same position as Salah, he doesn't work the same as Salah. He doesn't move the same as Salah. He doesn't operate the same as Salah. That's why when he comes on, it looks different. Do you understand what I'm saying? But that's why I think the Jota move has worked so well, because you're almost putting in, it's almost as if you have a jigsaw and you've lost the last piece. So you have to ring up the company, say, yo, send me out a AAA 125 piece. And then you straight in. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's Jota. That's Jota, bro. Is that missing piece.
He's a AAA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 piece.
Yeah, it's a AAA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not had to do anything. Jota's not had to bed in for half a season, and then from January seeing this, he's been able to do this because that is, you know what that is? Number one, that is excellent scouting. Yeah. To identify the player who can fit into your system. Number two, that's excellent transfer recruitment because you've got him for a good price. Number three, you've not disrupted him at his former club, so he can come straight in. It's not like you've tapped him up or it's one of these long-running sagas and this and that. No, he's come straight in. Wolves ain't that far from the Midlands, ain't that far from Liverpool as well. So he's not had to, even though he's moved his family, he's probably not had to, you know what I'm saying? It's not like moving from Scotland to London or something. Do you get what I'm saying?
It's not a big culture shock, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Ooh. I know. What are you watching there?
Don't spoil it for me. I'm watching.
I think West Ham have just gone 1-0.
I'm watching Chelsea West Ham too. Oh, you spoil. Why is everyone always ahead of me, man? You lot.
Yeah, I think he's watching it on Virgin Media.
I don't know if he's offside.
Stroll, what minute are you
offside.
in?
Oh, he's offside.
I think it says 6.
Yeah, I'm like a minute behind.
Can I say something, JV? The ownership at Liverpool, have done something that I feel like all our ownership have been asking for. Just put the right people in charge. Put the right people in charge and stay out of the way.
Do you know why? Do you know why they've done that, Ego? Because you know what they've done, and you have to respect it. Don't get me wrong. They've done this now, but they've already had their Glazers. They've had their Woodward. They've had their, what's your guy called again? I always get his name wrong. Your Gazidis. And what's the other one? In the one with a U?
Edu.
Yeah.
Cronky and them.
The owner, yeah.
But Edu as well. What kind of idiot business did Edu come out with you? Let's just dive. I just had to divert onto this one. You seen this Flawless?
Now, what did he say? Go on. Let's get into it. What did he say?
He said, right, I'm paraphrasing. I took this one from Flawless, the paraphrasing thing, because I don't get at you if you don't say things right and that. I got a DM you from someone like, you didn't even say that right. Oh, okay.
Mr. PR man over there.
You know what I mean? So I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, go on.
Go on, put it out.
I was just gonna say I'm not media trained. That's what I was gonna say. Use my PR and I'm not media trained, people. You feel me?
You just came out with a disclaimer just to say that you're not media trained. That's
not media trained. I'm just waiting. Go on, JV. You got a fool.
Your laugh was amazing.
You know what?
You got a fool, so.
Yo, you made me forget what I was gonna say. What was we talking about?
Edu.
Paraphrasing.
Edu. This guy's an idiot. So can't remember which it was that Arsenal lost recently. One of the 1,000. He said something like, "Our midfield's not very creative at the moment. We need to find a creative element in the middle of the park." I was like, bro, is this guy? Was it? This guy's smoking some of the finest Brazilian hashish or something, bro. I don't know. Bro. Man said we need to find a creative midfielder.
Here's the thing, though. It's
I know that you, man, have got something against this Ozil, yeah. But there's got to come a time when you got to bite your tongue. Like, don't get twisted. You, man, have got to bite your tongue sometimes. You got to get him back in. Like, I think they wanted Beckham out. There's certain times and certain man, you just got to play a minute.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. All right, then. What was it? Do you remember that when we were losing to Madrid? Remember that 4-3 one when Ronaldo scored the hat trick?
Yeah.
Ronaldo. He didn't want to play Beckham, bro. He had to put him on. We were losing and we needed a goal. We needed like 2 goals or something. I think Beckham got one of them and they nearly set one up. Do you get what I'm saying?
You have to.
Like, it's one of them where sometimes you got to bite your tongue, innit?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's what I think. That's where I think Arsenal got to be soon. You're going to have to bite your tongue.
But I agree. I was going to say, I agree they've got to bite the tongue. They won't bite the tongue because this is so political and it's so wild, like to the point where, because obviously you tweeted about the treatment of, I think it was Muslims in China and stuff like that. China basically turned around and said that if he plays again, we're pulling all the Arsenal stores, all the Arsenal replicas out of any store in China, etc., etc. Arsenal have got a massive market in Asia. So it's like, from a political standpoint, from a financial standpoint, they can't afford that. So
I get. They can't afford that, but it's one of you work it out in it. Sometimes you have to. Chelsea just scored. Thiago Silva, good header. That is a very, very, very good header. Fuck.
Chilwell got off injured.
Yeah, but as we were saying, sometimes you have to, like, there has to be a way where you figure that out. We are not scoring goals. You're not creating anything. You have Ozil there. It's kind of like, all right, let's get him in the squad somehow or some way. Like, you have to, like what JV was saying, you have to at some point. What about Ceballos though? I thought is he not a creative? Is he not a deep line playmaker?
No, he's an 8.
Yeah, but he's an 8, but he's an attacking 8. He's not defensive 8, is he?
The thing is, he's what he's asked to do in the under-21s World Cup for Spain and what he's asked to do at Arsenal is 2 completely different things. He's asked to play as a left winger for Spain. For Arsenal, he's being asked to play as an 8.
So it's Arteta playing him out of position and making him more defensive, is what you're telling me.
See what I mean?
That is his actual position. His actual position is a left-sided midfielder of a 3, like Pogba.
Yeah.
Where
it sounds like Oli all over that. You know what I'm saying? So it's more so he's an attacking player, but for whatever reason, Arteta stuck him in a defensive position and that.
And in the Premier League, he doesn't have enough time to play the way he wants to play.
But I think personally, the lack of an attacking midfielder is a bit of a lazy excuse, to be honest, because if you look at Liverpool over the years, we've had midfields of Fabinho, Henderson, Van Alden, Milner, like no creativity. But we've had no problem scoring goals because Klopp's coached us in an attacking system where we've, got attacking patterns of play, and we've had no problem scoring goals. Even before like Salah came in and Trent and Robertson came in, we were still scoring goals. So I don't really agree with this lack of a creative midfielder at Arsenal, to be fair. I think Arteta could still be getting a lot more out of him.
Do you know what it is, Ryan? Do you know what? You're right 100% in what you're saying. But you see what it is? It's because you made a very good point. You're able to do that because your manager is still willing to express himself attacking-wise. So everyone knows that Liverpool, and this is one thing where you have to really look at Liverpool, and you have to really, after a while, I thought it was a bad thing, but you have to really clap your hands at Liverpool when you look at the 3 people who start in their midfield. When you look at those midfielders who they have, and you really have to deep it that Jordan Henderson, Wijnaldum, and Fabinho, and I'm not saying they're not good enough players, but there's like
no creativity.
If you was a stat man would have a nightmare trying to justify Liverpool's midfield 3 as a title-winning midfield.
Here's the thing is, that's what it is. Yeah, I agree with you because of the front 3 they have and the fullbacks they have and the system they have. It allows you to do it, and this is why systems and having players in the correct place are so important. Because if you give that midfield 3 to a manager who's not good enough, everyone's talking about the quality of that midfield not good enough. Look at Manchester United. People talk about the quality of our team not being good enough. And I'm going to go off here, not being good enough. Look at the midfield 3 you named. If United had that midfield 3, our fans would kick off and say, it's not good enough. We've not been back.
I think it'd be sacked.
Yes, but yet this Liverpool side have won the Champions League and the Premier League in the past 2 years. But people will tell you systems ain't important and managers need to be back more, and the Glazers and the Woodwards ain't good enough. But Liverpool have that midfield free and can win leagues and Champions Leagues. That's what annoys me so much about this whole Ollie thing and the Ollie Inners.
Do you know what it is though? It is Klopp though, isn't it? Because it's like it's the same with Pep. Like Pep won the league with what, Delph at left back or whatever. Like he's done it. You know, Klopp's done it. So that's why, like, I honestly thought that if Liverpool got the injuries that they've got, I thought they would struggle. Obviously, they haven't. I know with obviously the system, anyone that kind of comes into that system seems to work. And that, you know, that is due to scouting as well. But yeah, I thought if they got the injuries they've got, they would struggle. They haven't. They've done well. They're getting results. They're doing what title winners do, getting them last minute results where really they shouldn't really be getting, you know, based on the way the match went. And that's why I can't really rule Man United out either, because Man United are also doing that right now. But I just think long term, the manager, for me, will have more of a say on who wins it. And I think Klopp, he's been there, done that. You know what I mean? And I think similarly with City, like Pep's been there, done that. I think this season, what we're not doing that Liverpool are, is we're not getting them last minute winners. We're not getting, you know, them games that are 50-50, we're not winning. So I think that's the difference between City and Liverpool. And that's why, for me, Liverpool are favourites at the moment. I'm not saying City can't challenge, because I think with Aguero back, the front will click eventually. And they do say defences win your titles. So we'll see what happens long term. But right now, Liverpool are doing what they need to do to win the league. And I don't feel Man City are. But we'll see what happens, because obviously long term, it can all change. I think if City's attack click, we're in with a shout. But I just think Liverpool look very solid at the moment, and they're only going to get better when their players that are injured come back. So
but here's the point: we're not playing our best striker at left back as well, so that always helps.
But you also have a Kevin De Bruyne at right back and at left back. So it does help when you have a guy who's getting Kevin De Bruyne assists from left back and right back.
Do you know what it is?
One thing you have to give Liverpool Klopp credit for as well is we spoke about their midfield, but he realized that's an area I can improve on. Because normally when teams win leagues, you look at first 11s and you go, where can this first 11 improve? And everyone would look at their midfield. So going to sign a Thiago and getting him for as cheap as they did made perfect sense, because he adds something different now to their midfield. Now there's something else to worry about. They were already the best team in the league, and they've added to that. And then when you add Jota into their front three as well, it gives them a whole other option going forward. So it's like, that's why Liverpool are doing bits. Go on.
That's the thing with Jota as well, because that's where I think, sorry to cut you off. That's where I think Jota, for me, Jota and Alex Telles have had two very big impacts. Because two players who were very mediocre for their respective teams last season, in Luke Shaw and Firmino, have all of a sudden booked up their ideas. All of a sudden, Luke Shaw can attack and cross. All of a sudden, Firmino is looking like an actual, he's doing number 9 stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's doing actual number 9 stuff. He's not being a creative libero, trequarista, attacking midfielder, number 10/8/9.5, better maths and all that. He's actually doing his thing where he's setting the team. And then that's where...
He's being a double A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what it is.
You know what I'm saying? Triple A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly.
Five assists, 5 goals. No, he's doing his proper thing, because we've all played in teams before, or even if you've not, you've had some sort of, you know, in life where could be a job, could be a love interest with your partner or something, and or whatever it is. If as soon as you think there's some sort of competition, it ups your game, innit? You either up your game or you die off, innit? That's your character, innit? And that's why there are two players if you watch me, there are two players who I criticise heavily over the past year, Luke Shaw and Firmino. And you've got to give them credit. You know, as individuals, mentality-wise, you've got to give them a lot of credit, because literally, they've seen that their place is coming under attack, and they've changed it up. And one more thing I will say on Liverpool is, you see, this season reminds me of, you know, like when United won it after all that time. And then, so we won it after all that. Steve Bruce and their man there, the meatheads and that. You know what I'm saying? And,
I said the meatheads.
Yeah, meatheads, bro. Like,
you're a fool, you know. You're a fool.
I think Phil Jones really wants to be one of them man there, but he's just not got it. Like Pallister's and them. He really wants to be one of them man in it, but he's just not got it. But that's a complete side note. But yeah, and you see when we had that season where Thingy beat us to it. Is it Blackburn?
Blackburn
beat us to it, innit? And how I'm thinking of this season, if they're not lucky, that could be one of those seasons. But at the same time, as much as I don't want Liverpool to win it, I think whoever does win it, if someone else wins it apart from Liverpool this season, you better expect an almighty fight for it next season. Because there's like, I can't see them not winning it, but what they have in their tank right now, I think they've got enough mentality and belief to last them for about at least 10 years. Because they've got people who are learning right now. There's people who are, there's your Curtis Joneses who are learning. There's your, I can't remember the centre back because you got too many man called Williams and that.
Williams.
The R. Williams guy. You got Pierre Williams is in that. I'm watching your team. I'm like, which Williams is this? But yeah, R. Williams, the Nico Williams. You know what I'm saying? Even that Elliot kid who's on loan at Blackburn. Yeah. You've got a generation learning, and he's kind of reminding me of United at that time, where you had your young players who were learning, and they're learning from the best about at this time. You could argue. We could all sit here now and argue Salah's probably one of the best wingers, you know what I mean, in the world. Striker, whatever you want to call him, because he's a bit of a, you know what I mean. I class him in that Ronaldo bracket where they're not really got a position. You're just somewhere up there and you bang goals.
You're just an attacker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're up there and you bang goals. I don't care where you play. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Salah can line up every match on the corner flag. A man can't tell him nothing. Kai probably still score 2 or 3. Do you get what I'm saying?
Listen, they have a Beckham in Trent.
This is what I'm saying. No, this is my point. I'm coming to. So imagine. This is what did United so good for so many years, and I don't think a lot of people realize this. The mainstays in the team were still young themselves. So if I'm young and then I can teach you under me, yeah, then we're set. Because now we've got 2 of me. Do you get what I'm saying? And this is where I think Liverpool are going now, because you kind of got 2 Jota and Mane for me is 2 of the same player. Do you understand?
I get what you're saying.
If you get in, so like you've got your Trent now. This Williams guy has been getting, Nico Williams has been getting a whole lot of unneeded aggro from even Liverpool fans, because to me he's a carbon copy of Trent. Do you get what I'm saying? He's an absolute carbon copy of Trent. He might even be better than Trent was at that age. It's just that Trent's come along so well. So then if you see you've got someone like Nico now teaching Trent, yeah. And then you've got Curtis Jones learning off a Thiago or a Firmino or I'll say Henderson, but I don't really know what he can learn with them. And then you know what I'm saying. You've got even for me, someone like a young striker. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Man's had hella Firmino slander, but for a young striker to learn their game of someone like Firmino would be absolutely amazing, because he would, if you could take what he's taught you and then add goals to it, you're the complete striker.
Yes. Listen,
I've said this about Firmino for time. Firmino is about 2 or 3 consistent seasons away from being Luis Suarez. He is Suarez. He has, except for the nasty streak, everything that Suarez can actually do, I'd say Firmino can actually do. And I personally believe that. He can assist as much as he can score. Do you get what I'm saying? He's one of them players. He could do I don't think he will, but he could, if he did an Henry season where he's got like over 20 goals and over 20 assists, no one's blinking an eye, because we'd be like, oh yeah, he can actually do it. He's just
it's not a lack of ability, it's just the fact that the goal scoring isn't there. But I get what
I'm saying. So for me now, this is where Liverpool are dangerous, because you've literally got a first 11 that's doing well, but you've literally got man coming up under them who are learning, and that is what put United ahead of everyone for so many years, and people never understood it. People never understood, like, we'd get rid of someone and there'd be a carbon copy. We'd get rid of a Gary Neville, or a Gary Neville would be injured, a Wes Brown would step in.
That's because obviously your system is set up like that way, and it's not just short-term thinking; it's also long-term thinking.
Yeah.
So obviously, Klopp's looking at it. He's trying to build a dynasty there. Go on, Ryan. Go on.
Yeah.
The big thing is Klopp's system runs through the whole club. The youth teams play exactly the same way as the first team, so that's enabled the likes of Curtis Jones, Nico Williams, Reece Williams, even the goalkeeper Kelleher to just slot in so easily because they've been coached in exactly the same way, and they'll look even better because they're with better players.
Yes.
No, but those players will always look better in a Liverpool team than if you pluck them and you put them in our team or Chelsea's or any not
United. Thank you.
Okay,
you know what,
my
thank you.
My team has a guy named Bukayo Saka. If he was in Liverpool's team right now, he would be killing it even 10 times more.
Bro, imagine Saka with like a fit Aguero, or someone who's just going to put away everything you put in there. Saka would have like 10, 15 assists right now. Why? All right then. Why do you think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is the top goal scorer, or nearabouts? Why do you think that? He is not overnight blossomed. Yeah, this is what you call training.
Yes.
Now is the result of a year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years of training, of implementing what you're being told by your manager, of taking things up. He looks, he even looks to me like someone. He looks to me like someone who Ancelotti might have said to him, "You ever seen Inzaghi?" And he'll go, "Well, I played with him on FIFA and I've seen him. Go watch him." Okay. And he looks to me like someone that he's probably gone and watched him. He's probably gonna watch this over centre forward. He's probably gonna got some old videos of Big Dunk doing all them madnesses with his.
Well, Big Dunk's been coaching him, so he always.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He'll run to Big Dunk when he's got goals.
It's kind of what he literally said in an interview what you just said, JV. He said, "I know a guy named Inzaghi, and he was a one-touch goal scorer. And when I came here, I told Calvert-Lewin to be a one-touch goal scorer. And if you guys see a lot of his goals recently, it's been he gets the service, one touch, it's in."
Come on, you know what, Eagle? I've said this for a while. That art of scoring goals is gone. And you know what's funny? I think Inzaghi said it. Check this, Inzaghi, and listen to the two players what he said. And he said it in a joking way. Inzaghi, he said, I hate Ronaldo and Messi. And then the interviewer was like, "Oh, why?" And he's like, "Because he's made it look like me and Raul weren't very good players and we didn't score a lot of goals." And I thought, that's funny. You know why? Because Ronaldo and Messi, what they did is they seen the Inzaghi and the Raul and said, "Oh, I can score them goals, but I can do free kicks as well. And I can shoot from outside the box. And I can," you know what I'm saying? So when you deep the Inzaghi did and Raul did what they were paid to do. Score goals as a centre forward. Yeah. What the modern footballers have done is they've gone, "Well, I might be a striker, but I can score like a winger, or I can score like do you know what I'm saying? I can score like an attacking midfielder. I can do this now. I can assist. I can do that." There would have been plenty of times a Raul or Inzaghi could have made an assist, but do you know what? They went for the bottom corner. Do you get where I'm coming from? So that's where these old schoolers did what they were supposed to do on the tin. The new football nowadays is just that everyone wants to do everything. Do you get what I'm saying? That's if you look at someone like a Raul and an Inzaghi, if you could get one of them right now, they would be like gold dust, because that striker's running out. That's why someone like Harry Kane gets a lot of ratings. But if you look at the 90s, there was probably, if you look at someone like Serie A, there was 10 strikers on a Harry Kane. Do you get what I'm saying? There was 10 man in La Liga on a Harry Kane level, and there was still man above them better. Do you get what I'm saying? So
I know what you're saying. It's different eras, different systems, different times. And
where do you get a proper think about the back in the day golden boots, bro? Like, you don't get a golden boot competition anymore, not properly anyway. You don't get like 5 man on 18 goals. Do you know what I'm saying? The top 30, and it's like 5 man on 18, 2 man on 29, 1 man on 20. You know what I'm saying? We don't get that no more, because there's not those type of tap it in strikers. And just to get right back to the original point I made, because I think I went on an almighty
get it, JV. We're used to it, man. Get off your chest, innit, man? Get off
I
your
went
chest.
on an almighty one then. I did like 3 diversions. I don't know which turn to go. I'll stick with Calvert-Lewin, yeah? But
hella road works, man. Hella road works.
Training. That's what we were saying. So that's why someone like Calvert-Lewin looks so good, because of training, things being implemented by the manager. And that takes me now back to Liverpool, full circle. I remembered. Thank you. That's why Liverpool will be here for a long time. It's not like you see when Chelsea did it. You see when Chelsea did it when they first come through. Yeah. Theirs was different. They just blew everyone away, but they didn't really implement a lot. Otherwise,
here's the thing.
Whoever came in after Mourinho would have had that same. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about having a structure, and then the next guy after you has to come in with a similar philosophy. So, for instance, say Klopp was to leave Liverpool 3 to 4 years, they would have to go and get someone, even if they weren't exactly the same as Klopp, they have to get someone who is similar in his philosophies in terms of how they want to play. So if you're attacking, they have to go and get an attacking, whereas if you're defensive, you have to go and get someone who's defensive. It matches, you know what I'm saying? Who was it? It was a team who came up that kind of did that, and they had success, but they got relegated. Swansea. That's what it is, because if I remember correctly, they had Brendan Rodgers, then they had Martinez. Yeah. They had somebody else. They had like 3 or 4 managers.
What it is, and then one of them matched it up in it. They had the best similar man, and it worked because they had them using all the players like for that, and the Gomez and them, Boney and them, and you know what I'm saying. And then I think like it's like the 4th manager along mashed it up, and it just never. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
What Igal said before about Saka, I completely agree with that. Like, he'd look so good in this Liverpool system. Like, this Liverpool system has made, in my opinion, a lot of players in that team look better than what they actually are. Because I look at Trent, for example, a system's there to kind of highlight a player's strengths and cover up their deficiencies. And Trent's strengths are his delivery and distribution, and obviously the system allows him to excel at that. But we all know that Trent has his issues defensively. He can be got at 1-on-1 easily, but the system enables him to not get isolated 1-on-1, so you don't see it as often. But when you do see it, it's obvious that he can get at 1-on-1, but the system enables him that not to happen a lot. So
that's why Klopp's very smart though, because he often deploys the defensive midfielder in that 3 slightly over to. Do you get what I mean? And then that player knows that when he sees Trent go past, you either stop or you just slot in it, depending on where the other centre backs are, where the line is. You stop in with the line, or you just drop back and slot in. So see, that's where someone like Trent is being protected by Klopp. Whereas if you look at someone like Wan-Bissaka, he's been left to hang out to dry. You know what I'm saying?
It's literally just him. But yo, Jan City, go on. You was gonna say something. Say what you was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that's why I always say it's about good management and stuff like that. But I also think when the team's doing well, everyone does step up. Like I was even saying, that 100-point season, I think we had Delph at left back. Like, I'm not saying he's not a good player. He was good for us, but like, you know, players like that, really and truly, shouldn't be winning the league like that. Do you know what I mean? At left back, while out of position, not the best player in general. And I think it's the same with Liverpool. Like, you can literally slot anyone in there and they're doing a good job. But also, if people are playing well, everyone steps their game up. The problem that I think City have had recently is, the thing that City have had recently, the problem is
trap phone in that,
is that, it's my dad. But
that's the trap phone. It's all right. Go on, keep doing your thing.
So I think because City have had like sort of injuries to certain areas, some players are quite comfortable, and the performances affect that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, like when we had Leroy Sané, Sterling had to be on his game every week, because Leroy Sané can take your place. He's got the quality. Do you know what I mean? So everyone kind of stepped their game up. Now it seems to be that Pep's kind of got his team. Some players are kind of favoured over others. And because of that, they know they don't have to play well to kind of stay in the squad. Like our defense was such a mess that Stones was getting in the squad whenever he was fit. Whereas now, he knows Laporte is right behind him. He has one bad game, he's out. So if you watch Stones this season, he's got 8 clean sheets in 10 games. Do you know what I mean? I actually thought his career at City was over. I thought he was finished. And I have to hold it to him. You know, I have to big him up because he's actually mentality-wise changed a lot of stuff. And he is the starting centre-back right now. Do you know what I mean? He's put himself in that position. But he knows if he has 2 bad games, he's out, Laporte's back in, and he ain't seeing the squad for a while. So I think Liverpool kind of have that. You've got the players, you've got the hunger, you've got the young ones coming through. Obviously, the likes of Foden, people were saying, he signed a new contract to sit on City's bench and, you know, he shouldn't stay at City. And I've always argued that he should stay at City because if you're going to learn from anyone, you want it to be David Silva. He was learning from David Silva, and look at what a player we've got. Whereas he could have gone on loan to a Burnley or something. And yes, he probably would have been shining at Burnley because he is a quality player, but he wouldn't have been learning from the same players that he is at City, you know? So any people always say any player you put in City is going to perform because the squad around them are so good. And I feel like that's the same with Liverpool. Like there is players in there who are questionable in terms of how good they are, but in that system, it doesn't matter because it works. Do you know what I mean? And that is down to Klopp. So I think a lot of it is on the manager.
I get you.
Personally, that's what I think.
And switching lanes, sticking with City, with the way everyone, JV, you gotta go, yeah. All right, we will be back. JV will be back, people, because immediately after this, the Sarcasm City podcast will be going live at 9 p.m. So yeah, make sure you stay locked into Sarcasm City TV. We keep it rolling in it. We keep working over here. Like it don't stop. Christmas period, it keeps going. No matter if it's Christmas,
keep going, bro.
He's about to do another 12 hours.
Yeah, whatever it is, in it.
I've not got a twin. I've not got a twin or a clone yet, so I've got to like rest a bit before I do the next one, innit?
Yeah, love to you, man. Love to you, man. Yeah,
yo, shout you a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Salute to JV. But yeah, like I was saying, people, we will be back at 9. We ain't going anywhere just yet. Obviously, this show's closing at 9, but immediately following the show, the Sarcasm City podcast, non-football podcast, we'll be discussing COVID, the COVID vaccine, all types of wild stuff in it. I got stuff I need to get off my chest as well, non-footballing in it. So we gonna be saying a lot on that. We're gonna be saying a lot. Nah, it's just been a minute since we done. I love Sarcasm City because I can get things off my chest. Obviously, talking football is great on a daily basis and that, but sometimes you just need to get things off your chest and have discussions about certain things. You get what I'm saying and that. But yeah, Jan City mentioned it there. And speaking of Manchester City, I'll ask her when she comes back, but I'll ask you lot. In a league like this where teams are not like the Premier League quality is dropped and the title race is open, do you think people, I believe Manchester City, I can't believe I'm saying this, are being heavily disrespected? How they aren't clearly second favourites to me is wild. And that's not, I see Stroll shaking his head. Let me get to it and then you can poke holes in the argument shortly. Is because they're better, they are more equipped than everybody else. They're more equipped than United, they're more equipped than Chelsea, they're more equipped than Spurs, they're more equipped than Everton. Who are they not more equipped than? But people don't consider them in the race. Bear in mind, I don't think they're that far off. Ain't they like 2 points off like the top 2, top 3 or something like that?
I think they're 5 or close, aren't they?
I think 5. Yeah, go on, Stro. I see you screwing your face. I think they're being heavily disrespected.
So they're 8 points off us with a game in hand. So if they win it, they go to 5 points, right?
Yes.
I don't think they are, and let me tell you why. When you lose a title in the manner you lost the title last season, you then have the chance this season to right or wrong. You have the chance to go and do big in the transfer window, show a bit of intent with regards to I want that title back. That's mine. Like this never should have happened. I didn't see that from City. And then I look at the game when we played in first half, we were excellent. Second half, we were there for the taking. Trent goes off, and you've got Milner at right back. Put Sterling on him and try and expose him 1v1. Do something. And he was just happy with the draw. So I'm not surprised that they're being underestimated or the fact that they're not heavily second favourites because I've not seen enough up to this point to show me any different. West Brom's a prime example. If that's Manchester City 2 years ago, that's a 7-8 niller. Easy.
Yeah, they do go for it if it is that. And yes, they are not what they were. But again, this is me talking about the quality of the rest of the Premier League. They're still better than to me, they're still better than everybody else.
Yeah, but mentally you can tell the scarred. Like,
yeah, mentally they still don't have it, but they still have. To me, I look at them in terms of Manchester United. They still have individual brilliance to win you matches. Yes, if JV touched on it, even if Aguero gets to any form of fitness, I can see them being in the race. Then when you add in Sterling, Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne, I'm like, you lot are still can hit teams even with playing goal.
You know what I think though? I agree with Stroh in what he's saying, because myself personally, it's not just West Brom, it's not just Liverpool. I could probably name 5 or 6 games this season where we should have won and we haven't won. The only thing that I would say is in City's favour is that defensively we've been quite strong. So even though we're not winning games, we're not conceding stupid goals like last season. Okay, yeah, Leicester 5-2. But we didn't have Diaz. Diaz has come in. He's almost done what like Van Dijk did at Liverpool. Come in, strengthen the defence. We needed that. We've got that now. Going forward, we've not been good enough. We've not been clinical enough. We've been wasting chances. De Bruyne should have so many assists that he hasn't got because our players just aren't good enough going forward. So, but I do think it'll click. I can't see Sterling having a season where he gets 5 goals all season. Like, it's very unlikely. So I think if it clicks soon, we're up there. If it doesn't, Liverpool will go too far ahead. So it's on City. City can be in the title race. Someone said it the other day. They said City are the only team that can compete with Liverpool. But it's up for them to do it. And right now, we're not showing that title-winning passion. We're not showing that, So maybe it will happen. I know Aguero is one of them players that's not going to be settling for a draw, regardless of what Pep's doing. He's getting you a winner. So it would take people like that. Fernandinho is another one. Even though he did play in the derby, he did his job in the derby that he was there to do excellently. Because in another game without Fernandinho, Man United win that. So even though going forward, he didn't really help us in terms of like scoring or anything like that, he did what he was there to do. But I think them sort of players, your Agueros, De Bruyne, to be fair to him, is trying, but this season he's not been at the best form. Like, he hasn't scored a goal from open play, which is unlike him, because last season he was scoring goals, quite a lot. So I think it'll click. I'm hoping it's going to click. I'm just not sure when. And I think if we leave it too long, Liverpool will be too strong and we won't be able to catch him. So it's down to City. They can do it. They have the quality to do it. But it's on them. And I think if City don't challenge this year, they have no one to blame but themselves. It's not a case of results not going our way. Like, I know last season there was a few controversial decisions with like VAR and stuff like that. This season, it's not that. It's City. Because every game, statistically, I know statistics don't matter. Possession football means nothing if you're not scoring. But every game, pretty much on paper, we should and could have won. True. So it's like right now it's on City to turn it around. Whether they do that or not, I don't know. I think them players have one eye on the Champions League, which worries me because I don't like that. Because I think any cup competition, you're never, ever, ever guaranteed to win it. Whereas if City turned up this season and went for it the way Liverpool are going for it, we've got a good chance to win the league. Whereas the Champions League, all it takes is us to draw Bayern Munich and we could be out. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's very risky. And I think that we should be going for the Prem and hoping to win the Champions League rather than going for the Champions League and hoping to win the Prem. So we'll see what happens. We've got the squad. We've got the manager. And I think Liverpool are the only other team that have the squad and the manager as well. So we'll see what happens. But
I think with one thing with Man City that I will get onto them for is that I look at the football, their attacking football. I just don't see them. It's just not as fluid as it was a couple of years ago. Like, I look at that West Brom game, for example, because I watched the second half. I didn't watch the first half.
Yeah.
But the keeper was only busy in really the last 10 minutes. Before that, I didn't really think City City didn't really look like scoring before the last 10 minutes. The keeper was only busy in like the last 10, and normally in the past few years with City, you'd expect the opposition keeper to be a lot busy throughout the whole 90 minutes, not just in the last 10. So I think they're actually, from what I've seen, creating less chances, and their attacking football hasn't been the same. And I think that's impacted players like Sterling, because this ain't a disrespect to Sterling, but he's a very good player. But he relies a lot on the system around him and the players around him. And what you're seeing is that this attacking system around him isn't functioning as well as it has, and the players around him aren't performing as well as they have. That his performances and numbers have gone down as a result. So, but I do think City will probably click sometime this season.
Yeah, we've had games this season. I've said it before. We've had games this season where we could play another 2 hours and not score. And that West Brom game, the Man United game, the Spurs game, there's so many games that I can say we did not look like scoring.
He's playing the 2 DMs. That's what it is, man. Man's protecting John Stones. I'm being deadly serious. All jokes aside, that's exactly what
it is. That's why you
do you know what it is, though? Do you know what it is as well? It's David Silva. Like David Silva was he was the heart of our attack, basically. And to take him out, okay, yeah, De Bruyne is a brilliant player. I don't think he's been at his best this season. I don't think he has. I think the fact that he's still up there statistically shows how good a player he is, that he's not at his best and he's still being compared with everyone in the league as what they're aspiring to be. So I think it's a little bit David Silva. I think De Bruyne's not on the best amount of form. And also, it's more about us not being clinical. Because De Bruyne put 2 shots in that last 10 minutes of West Brom that really and truly, if Aguero's there, it's a goal. And they didn't score. So I think, for me, the attackers have to take most of the responsibility, because defensively, we've not been too bad. Midfield,
what you said.
It works better with Fernandinho, but Fernandinho's not young enough to kind of play every game. So Pep's a little bit limited in that. Bernardo Silva played well against Southampton, sorry. But before that, when he came on, he wasn't doing too much. So I think it's on our attackers, and they have to hold their hands up. You know, if we don't go and win this league, it'll be on them, because they've had opportunities to win games and they've not taken them opportunities. And Liverpool are doing that. So you can't have the team who you should be challenging doing that and you're just going out there and settling for a draw. There doesn't seem to be the hunger that you get in a title race. So right now, even though I think we can do it, and I think Aguero, when he comes back, will help us to kind of put together a run, we don't look, I tweeted the other day, like, we don't look like we want it. And that's what's annoying me, because there's no reason why City shouldn't be going for a win in all of these games.
Yes.
So they need to fix up. They do need to fix up. And like, I'm not one to slate the players individually, because I think, like, even Sterling, he hasn't been great. He's got 5 of our match winners this season, something like that. Like, It's mad. Like, he's still doing more than others. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just, they need to sort it out. I do think there's a bit of a lack of competition as well, because Aguero's out. There's no competition there really going forward. Like Sterling, no matter how poor he is, he starts, which, to be fair to Pep, he does get in the right positions. Yes, he's not as clinical as he needs to be, but he still creates chances. So I understand why Sterling starts. Mahrez, at the start of the season, was starting regardless. Now, then he's kind of come in. He had one really good game where he scored 3 goals. And then after that, he wasn't really. Bernardo Silva's not been at his best. He's kind of, his form's up and down. Foden's come in, look good sometimes, not look good other times. It's just, there's no real consistency with the attack. You know, the defense are quite consistent. Midfield depends, but they tend to be more consistent. But yeah, just going forward. And I think it's, right now it's on our forwards. And I think we need Aguero back if we're going to have any chance of kind of getting into a title race.
He is definitely key. But one thing I want to say, because Gal mentioned it, David Silva being a massive misfit. And I think I've asked you this before, but I'll ask you this on here again. Why not go with Foden, who's the closest option in your? I'm not saying Foden's as good as David Silva, but the closest attacking option to David Silva. He's the best current replacement looking at in that squad. And you have Bernardo Silva as well in there. So you have two, but for whatever reason, he's gone with this Ollie 4-2-3-1. So why do you think that is?
Do you know what? I actually don't know why we've changed our system. I don't get it myself. I don't know. I can't tell you why Foden doesn't start. I don't know.
And then you have Bernardo Silva as well.
He doesn't make subs, so it's not like he's bringing on other people and he's not bringing him on. I don't know what it is personally. I like Foden and Torres personally. I think them two link up really well. They're young, they're hungry. I like them too. Torres has struggled a little bit in the Prem. I think just because it's a big change. Champions League, he looks a lot better. He looks a lot sharper. But I think he's probably our most clinical player, Torres, right now. So I've said this before, I would actually put him up front when Aguero's not there. Because that's where he was playing at the start of the season. And he looked really good. And the thing is, even if he's not scoring, like I think the Sheffield United game away, he was brilliant. He didn't score, but he was brilliant. And I think for me, I would, if I was Pep, I would be playing him. You know what I mean? Get your wingers in there, pass it into him. And I think he's the next best thing to Aguero when Aguero's out for us right now. And I don't get it. That's what me as a manager, that's what I would do. I don't really get it. Obviously, I'm not a manager like Pep, so he knows better than me. But that's what I would do if I was the manager of City right now.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, go on, Ryan.
I want to get on this. I wanted to get on the fact that you guys are going to find it hard to replace legends of your team. Legends in the sense of company, legends in the sense of David Silva, legends in the sense of even right now, Aguero being injured week in, week out. That's almost 3 guys you have to replace in a span of 2 years. And I don't think you guys have done a good job transitioning away from the pieces that you've had for 12 years, or not 12 years, but like 8-10 years you've had in your team. And eventually you're going to have to make a transition, but the transition is never going to be smooth. When you lose legends of your team, you're never going to just replace them just like that. It's going to take time, and every replacement is going to be a little bit of a downgrade to eventually where you might get to a situation where you're going to have to go out there and spend 200 million to get a level of that player, because that's how good some of these guys are that you're replacing.
Yeah, I think because that's what I've said. Like, it's not going to be easy. Like, you know, to replace Aguero, yes, there's other clinical strikers. You've got people like Haaland that could probably come in and do a good job. I think Aguero might be a little bit easier in terms of that. Obviously, Aguero is brilliant, so it's never going to be easy, but I think it might be slightly easier. For us, it's been Fernandinho we struggled to replace because he is key to our squad, and it's very hard to replace him. Company took us a long time. I think Ruben Diaz is the closest we've got. He's come in. He does give me Company vibes. He's come in. He's a leader. He's already sort of sorted out our defence a little bit. And what I always say about a good centre-back is they make the people around them step their level up. It happened at Liverpool with Van Dijk. Van Dijk came in. Gomez, not as good, you know, as Van Dijk, but he still, when them two are together, they look solid. And I think Diaz has done that. Like, even just looking at Stones this season, he doesn't have that season next to Otamendi. He doesn't have that season next to what's his face? Garcia. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he has that. See, I'm not saying he's not a good player. The quality has been there, but I just think next to Diaz, he looks much better. Laporte last season was a good player. He's been one of our best players over the past couple of years, but Laporte is not a leader. So even though he might be a good player, whoever plays next to him is still going to be exposed because he's not leading the back line the way Company did and the way Diaz is. So I think Company, it looks like we might have someone good there. He's 23, you know, defenders play till they're 33. He could be there another 10 years. But yeah, to replace that whole spine is never going to be easy. And with any signing, I always say it's trial and error. You could get the best player in the world in that position. They could come into your squad and not perform. So I don't think it's very easy. People are saying, oh, you've not replaced the spine. But tell me a player that comes in and does what David Silva did. Because I think it's very difficult to find someone that I would say, yeah, I'll take him. That's David Silva. Do you know what I mean? These players.
Say something before I go. I'm going to head out. Thanks for having me on, guys.
You're welcome. Give all your socials out just quick before you go.
Oh, yeah. You guys already know where to find me on Twitter, the Kitty G, and my channel is right there. What is it? EGTV. Check it out. And Stro, everyone, thanks for having me. JV already left. Big up to you guys. And one thing about City, you guys had a guy in Douglas Luiz who could have transitioned into that Fernandinho role, but you sold him. So you know what? Aston Villa strikes again.
Do you know what? With him, we couldn't get a visa. So that's why he doesn't play for City, but we've got a buyback clause. So we'll see what happens. But City want him back.
We want him at Arsenal. Anyways, peace, guys.
Yo, bless the guy, man. Big up for jumping on. Ryan, let him know before we close out the show, people. This has been From a Third Eye View, obviously Christmas special. We put together a great lineup for you. Ryan, let them know where they can find you and everything else you got going on. All your socials,
etc. Find me on Instagram at Ryan_K. Really, that's it. I don't have Twitter, so I'll probably get it soon, to be honest.
You need to get it sooner now. You out here on all these platforms. I see you over here. I've seen you on the Football Terrace, so you're gonna have to get a Twitter on that so people can get at you and find you. You know what I'm saying? Yan City. Let them know where they can find you. The other Yan City.
You can find me on my shows on this channel, which is pretty much everything. But yeah,
that's the show. She hijacked all the show.
City and the question and answer is also now my show. Catch me on there. I do have YouTube, Yan City ENT. There's nothing on there, but yeah, check it out. That's me.
That's it. But yeah, and you can also catch Stro. Stro changed up his ads and that, you know what I'm saying? New year, new ads and that, Stro. I see you and that fresh into the new year, yeah? Is that you, fam? I see you.
Yeah, had to be, man. Had to be.
I see you. Let them know where they can find you, etc.
At Mr. It's Stro on Twitter, It's Stro Official on Instagram, obviously the Alicia Wayman Foundation, obviously From a Third Eye View, every Monday 7 till 9 on Pi Radio. You know what it is, man.
Yeah, that's what we do. And also next week we don't stop, so you will get the last From a Third Eye View of the year, Monday the 28th of December, obviously again on this channel 7 till 9 before we go back to Pi Radio in the new year on the 4th of January. But for that, because it's the final one, we're going to bring you a stellar lineup. Don't worry about that. We are putting together, you get me, as better than Barca 06. That type of stellar lineup, I'm telling you. We're going to put together a strong lineup for that. Also, catch me at That's Me Flawless on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this now or you're watching this live, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And when you subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're literally going live in like 2 to 3 minutes, the Sarcasm City podcast on this channel. So stay right there. Or you know what? Head over to there now and get in the comments, hit the like button on that video, and we'll be over there talking COVID, the vaccine, plus more, whatever madness else is going to come out in it. You get what I'm saying? I believe Yan City is joining us as a special guest for that show. I believe so. This is what she said to me.
I've got to jump on another show. I'll try and come in.
Oh, is it? All right, whenever you're ready. I know you're busy and that. It's fine. You out here. You get me? It's great to see you working in it, showing off 38 teeth. I love it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
he's 36 yesterday.
Well, you know what? It's grown in it. You know what I'm saying? It can change at any moment. There's a food and that.
I got go.
Yeah, you go get your food, yeah? Food, bless. Look, hella happy. But yeah, people, this has been From a Third Eye View of Pi Radio, but on Sarcasm City TV. Thank you very much for tuning in.